Welcome to Module 4, Lesson 8, Probability and Relative Frequency. So we're going to look at some two-way tables. A two-way table organizes data into rows and columns to show the relationships between two categorical variables. So parts of a two-way table are the rows, columns, cells, and totals. So let's learn how to read a two-way table properly. First, you need to understand the variables. And you can do that by identifying what the rows and the columns represent. So in the example above, the rows, and remember, rows are horizontal, columns are vertical. The rows represent the gender, right? Male and female. The columns represent the preference, likes cats and likes dogs. Then you should examine the totals. Look at the totals row and column to understand the overall distribution. So, for example, the total number of people in this survey is 75, right? This one right here. The total who likes cats, well, you would have to go to the cats column and go to the bottom. So the total who like cats is 40. And the total males, we would have to go to the males row, and the total here is 35. And then you want to analyze individual cells. So, for example, 15 males, if we look at this cell right here, this means that 15 males like cats. Please pause this video and work on the Lesson 8, Level 1 problems in the workbook. In Level 2, we'll look at the probability. The probability is the likelihood of an event occurring expressed as a fraction, decimal, or percentage. The formula for probability is the number of favorable outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So let's look at an example, right? I give you this two-way table here about the number of males and the number of females who like tea or who like coffee. So question 1 says, what is the probability a randomly selected person is female and likes tea? So remember, we're going to need to take the number of favorable outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So the first thing I like to do is figure out what is my total here, right? Because there are many different totals in this two-way table. Since the question says, what is the probability a randomly selected person? In general, they're talking about all people in this survey, which means we're talking about the total number of people, which is 100. Then we need to figure out how many of those people are female and like tea. So we go to female and likes tea, and that would be 25. So we're going to do 25 divided by 100, which is 0.25, or 25%. Number 2 is a little different though. It says, given that a person likes coffee, what is the probability that they are male? So now we have a new total here. We can't use a total of 100 because that's the total number of people. Our total is the number of people who like coffee, which is 55. And of those 55 people, 30 of them are male. So we'll do 30 divided by 55, and we get about 0.545, which is about 54.5%. Please pause this video and work on the Lesson 8, Level 2 problems in the workbook. In Level 3, we'll look at relative frequency. Relative frequency is the ratio of the number of times an event occurs to the total number of trials. The formula for relative frequency is the frequency of a category divided by the total frequency. So let's look at this problem here. We have a two-way table, and we have some missing values. So it says if three-fourths of the students in the two classes play an instrument, how many students in Miss LaGrua's class play an instrument? So first we need to figure out what is three-fourths of the students in the two classes. Because we know that three-fourths of the students in both classes play an instrument, that's going to give us this total right here, the total of students that play an instrument. So the total students in both classes is 64. So let's find three-quarters of 64. So if you multiply 64 by three-fourths, you get 48. So that gives us our total here. They want to know how many of those students are in Miss LaGrua's class, right? Well, we know 20 of those students are in Miss Wan's class. So we can just do 48 minus 20, which is 28. So 28 of those students are in Miss LaGrua's class. Please pause this video and work on the Lesson 8 Level 3 problems in the workbook. Once you're finished with the problems in the workbook, please move on to the next video for Lesson 9.